let's talk. Paul George, is he being overlooked in the NBA MVP conversation?
I do think that he is being overlooked, and while I break it down, can we get Doug in? Let's bring him on in. He should be on the line. Are you on the line, Doug?
Okay, I'll work on that.
He's not there yet. All right,
Okay.
he's got to call in. But in the meantime, while he's working on that, Paul George clearly, in my opinion, deserves to be in this conversation. The reason I wanted to talk about this tonight is because we hear a lot of talk about James Harden because he is the most interesting thing in the room. He's a scoring machine. He's making highlights. He's hitting big shots. And that's really cool. That's nice. He's been very consistent in the point output that he's had all season. But on the other end, we've got a guy in the Western Conference who a lot of people will say that is the tougher conference to play in at the moment. He has a better record. His team has a better record than the Houston Rockets. And he also plays on both ends of the court. He plays defense. He guards the best man on the floor. And then he can still also put up numbers every night to carry his squad. We all know for a fact that Paul George, his output has been the thing that has made OKC go, besides Russell Westbrook. But Russell Westbrook has not had the typical year that we are used to see from him. But with that being said, when you look at Paul's numbers, he's risen to the top of the ESPN.com RPM leaderboard. He has averaged 35.4 points, 7.8 rebounds, 4.8 assists, and 2.3 steals over his last 13 games. And that's impressive. And OKC is going on an 11-2 win versus losses in the league, which is fourth best as far as the net ratings go. So I think that when you really look at the numbers so far and what his team has been able to accomplish and what he's contributed everywhere on the court, in my opinion, I feel like he's going a step further than what James Harden can give you. And not only that, he's also done it with less shot output. James Harden puts up how many shots a game? 30?
Right.
So not to say I hate on him because that's the offense that they play in, but I really think that Paul George deserves a lot more love than what people are giving him, and they're going to have to pay attention. The other person that I think is playing really well, and I'll let you answer this in a second, but Antetokounmpo is also having an amazing year.
Right.
He has his team on top, actually the best record, not only in the Eastern Conference, but the entire NBA. You can't turn your back on that. So what do you think? What is your feeling?
All right. I have. I'm out of the James Harden for MVP conversation because I don't believe he's the most valuable player in the league at this point. Now, it's a fair argument. However, when you look at what Giannis is doing, when you look at what Paul George is doing, it's really, really night and day. Just in terms of efficiency, Paul George, 37 minutes per night, 45% field goal percentage, 40% from three. All right? Free throws, 85%, 84%. 8.1 rebounds, 4.2 assists.
He's balling.
2.2 steals, all right, and 2.6 turnovers a game, right, on a team that is definitely better than the Houston Rockets.
Yeah. Record-wise, definitely right now. Yeah.
Right, and not even just record-wise, they're just better. You put them on, if in a matchup, best of 7, OKC wins 4-1. Versus Houston.
Would not be surprised.
Right.
I would not be surprised. I have a stat that you probably would find interesting about Antetokounmpo. Did you know this? So he has 25 games left to play in the season, and he is on pace to have 159 unassisted dunks. which will topple.
Oh, hold on, don't tell me, because I'm thinking about who in NBA history.
Who else would have that many?
Gets unassisted dunks.
Yes.
You have to be a guard because that means you started with the ball. It would lead me to believe that it's a big guard that's getting in the paint and being able to finish in the paint strong. So I'm going to say LeBron.
I'm looking at two names that have the record right now.
LeBron, Charles Barkley. Yeah, that's the two that come to mind.
Very interesting you say that. I'm not sure where they rank on the entire list, but number one at the moment is they had Dwight Howard in the 2006-2007 season. That's when he was balling. And then the other person, which I wasn't surprised about, was Shaq. He had 93 in a full season.
Okay.
And your boy Antetokounmpo is on pace for 159.
Dwight surprises me. Shaq doesn't surprise me. Because Shaq is a guy you could just give the ball to and start running back down the court. He's going to score.
Yeah, you can't stop him. But that year that Dwight was in the MVP type of conversation, and they went to the finals, he had an amazing year. Like, he was unstoppable around the basket. He was dunking a lot.
Right, but I felt that was more catch and finish.
Like Jameer Nelson.
Right, they were throwing oops, Turkaloo. It was Turkaloo a lot.
Yeah.
For you to do that unassisted means you're giving the ball on the block and you're really going to work on your own.
Yeah.
Then I don't picture Dwight as that type of player, but he delivered.
Well,
those numbers don't lie.
Nah, they don't. And we can definitely finish this up, but let's get Doug in. We'll slide Doug in here real quick.
Okay.
Douglas, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. How you guys doing?
We good, man. Glad to have you on. So first of all, we're gonna have Doug back so we can do the full welcome and he can tell us about his favorite teams and all that. But we wanted to get him in for this segment real quick. Doug is a daddy, so he's got family responsibilities, but he consented to come on and chat with us briefly. Real quick, Doug is no slouch. Doug also has a show of his own called The Unmitigated Truth. Which you can find on YouTube. And where else can we find you besides YouTube, Doug?
You can also find it on Facebook. It's under the profile Doug Voice, but it's definitely, hashtag The Unmitigated Truth. You can do a search for it on Facebook and find it there too.
All right, cool, Doug. So we're going to get you in on this conversation real quick. We're sitting here talking about potential MVP candidates for the end of the year. We started the segment by saying that we thought that Paul George should be included in the conversation a lot more than we hear about James Harden and Antetokounmpo. What are your thoughts so far? Who do you think is the MVP, and does Paul George deserve to be an MVP this year?
So I totally agree. I think Paul George has been nothing short of amazing. This year for OKC, last year too, but definitely this year. I felt at first when he first came to that team that Russell Westbrook was just going to steamroll over him, just like he steamrolled over a bunch of other teammates as well. But Paul,
he actually did.
He did steamroll him last year. He got him last year.
Yeah, he got him last year. But this year, Paul George has been lights out. He's been clutch. He's been a high volume scorer. He's been solid in the transition game. He's locked down other stats of his game. Meaning he's not a Jameer Nelson, where he's not going to just drop 33 and have no other stats anywhere else on the stat sheet. He's going to do everything and give you everything you got every night. And I think I heard you guys say something about he's averaging like 37, 38 points a game. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's drinking some magic elixir. If he's swimming in some clear crystal blue water. I don't know what he's doing. All I know is whatever he's doing is working because he's an absolute monster.
So I'm going to tell you what he's doing. Hmm? Here's what he's doing. It's not what he's doing. It's what Westbrook is doing.
Yeah.
Paul George has been doing this. In the East, on a team, Indiana, where nobody really paid attention to. The injury occurred. His peak slightly interrupted.
Right.
Okay.
That's true.
And, the good bounce back year with Indiana, then the trade, the chemistry issues with Carmelo being on the team and already having Westbrook, so that you have a chemistry issue there. Those things get out of the way, and Westbrook, the elevation of Westbrook's mental game, all right, is helping to put Paul George in this position. OKC has been loaded for years, so he never had a cast like this.
Yeah, they're balanced.
Okay, and
but I have to give you credit for that. I have to give you credit because I think what happened was Westbrook realized within himself, without saying it publicly, the mistakes he made when he had Durant on the team, and he probably said to himself that he's not going to make those same mistakes with Paul George. And I think we're seeing the fruits of that labor. So I think you made a good point.
Right, and the other thing about OKC that I love the surrounding cast, developed players. Jeremy Grant.
Right.
Where did he get that 3-point shot from?
Yeah, he's been working on it.
Don't know.
He's been working. That was the missing piece to him. Another dude, phenomenal measurements, 6'8", 6'9", over 7 foot wingspan, a legit 3, but with a 4-man's game, which really fits well into today's NBA.
Yeah.
And now he's there. He's playing D. He's giving weak side shot blocking, helping to protect the rim along with Steven Adams. And the fluidity between him and Paul George being able to guard either forward.
Yeah.
Or you can legitimately put Jeremy Grant on anybody.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
On anybody.
But can we also give credit where credit's due, and that's to the head coach, because that was such a humongous upgrade in coaching to get rid of Scott Brooks and put in Billy Donovan. It was a huge upgrade.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about coaching Scott Brooks that had everybody else shooting from the half court or grandmother's house and had Serge Ibaka by himself at the rim protecting the basket. And obviously that wasn't working. You know, anyone could have seen that. So Serge gets so upset to the point where his last year in OKC, he says, you know what, heck with it. I'm going to go out to the three-point line and gun freeze all day long. And that's what you saw when he was in OKC, because there was absolutely no commitment to any type of X's and O's scheme whatsoever.
Yeah.
Scott, in my opinion, he knew a lot better about getting the purple or blue-colored Oakleys to go with his tie than he did with throwing up plays.
Yeah. Yeah, and in Donovan's defense, the first couple years, they struggled because they lost some games they shouldn't have lost, right? With the exception of the first year where they actually almost beat Golden State. But last year was horrendous. He went back with being on the hot seat, made adjustments, actually they let Carmelo go, which is a big decision, and then drew up plays, and they have a system that allows their pieces to work well.
I was actually going to say that credit needs to be given to the OKC management for giving Billy Donovan the leeway to adjust.
That's true.
Which a lot of teams don't give head coaches in the NBA. So that's a big
true.
part of it. People grow together.
Yeah.
Chemistry grows together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now they have it.
Well, to be honest, they gave Scott Brooks the chance too, but his problem is he never adjusted. He just kept coming to the stadium wearing different color loud ties. That's it. He didn't do anything.
I'm going to go ahead and say Doug did not like Scott Brooks' fashion. But, you know.
That's fair.
Yeah, that is fair to say.
That's fair. So one last thing on OKC. I picked Golden State 1.
Uh-huh.
I actually had the Lakers 2.
Okay.
And then I have OKC right behind them.
Okay.
Obviously, the Lakers, we'll see what they do here in the next month or so. The Nuggets have been a little bit of a surprise, but OKC's right where they should be. I haven't been on the Houston bandwagon, so that's why I'm not quick to even consider James Harden to be in the MVP conversation. I mean, he's phenomenal, but 35 shots.
35 shots, minimal defense.
And you, who's Houston's coach again? Mike D'Antoni?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where that story ends. I'm sorry. I've seen Mike D'Antoni coach teams for the past 10 years or so, and it's always the same thing. He gets players to play 400,000 minutes during the regular season, and then when they get into the playoffs and he wants them to play more or muster up some more umph, they've got nothing left in the tank, and they either just fizzle out in the second round, or a whole bunch of guys get hurt, and then he puts in backups who haven't played all season and they stink.
Right.
That's been his MO for the past decade or more. So as long as he's coaching the team, they're not going anywhere, in my opinion.
I literally still can't believe that P.J. Tucker is getting this many NBA minutes. I mean, I see what he does. I get it. But no. There's no reason P.J. Tucker should be on the floor for more than 15 minutes a game.
It's because he's
Starting-
being coached by Michael Aloysius D'Antoni.
Right.
he
Starting
is,
at the 4, son?
Yeah, he's one of the all-time greatest backup squad
Bro,
guys.
I could
That's what
find
he is.
15 4-men in the G League right now that are going to come up, give me 8, 9, 10 boards, play D, play hard, and score 8 to 10 points a game for me.
I think a little bit of that is that
Of course you could.
I think he's a yes man. I think when the coach says, "I want you to do this,"
Team player.
he said, "Okay,
It's
no
cool.
problem, coach."
Team
Say,
player.
you know what? You're not going to shoot the
Right.
ball tonight, PJ.
Right.
Just run up and down the court and guard whoever you
And
see.
it fits well with Harden because
Right.
he'll just wait there until Harden gives him the ball.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure you could find them. I'm sure I could find them. Joe could find. Anybody could find them. Anyone who's not named D'Antoni could find those players.
Yeah.
I remember in Phoenix, he used to keep giving Leandro Barbosa like 23 minutes a game, and that man, I lie to you not, used to run coast to coast at full speed like he's playing soccer, and then he would lay up the ball underneath the backboard. It would clang off of the underneath part and then go out of bounds. Turnover.
He got a
And
lot
I'm
of
just like,
minutes.
who keeps putting this man in the game?
The Brazilian blur.
Yeah, he was good for the blur part,
Yes.
but the baskets were blurry too.
His vision was blurry.
Yeah.
Leandro Barbosa.
All right. So I think we covered that. I think we knocked that out. Paul George, we do think. Council Sports Talk thinks that Paul George deserves another look.
Now, but what about not just deserves
Yeah.
a look? I think it's him and Giannis for MVP.
Those are my top two.
Right.
And you could pick either one of them, and I
I
probably
don't
wouldn't
have to-
really argue with you because Giannis has a number one
I also
record in
have
the
to.
league.
I also have to put LeBron in the mix only because we shudder to think where the Lakers would be right now if LeBron had not played one game for them yet this season.
Well, we're kind of seeing it because he took off like 2 months.
Yeah.
And they stunk it up.
Right.
So, yeah, I agree with you
Well,
in regards to his value
yeah.
and their ability to win. But LeBron ain't getting it this year. Now, that
Yeah,
injury,
no,
that
he's not going to
injury
get it
took
this
him out
year.
of it,
But
yeah.
but you have to admit, like the Lakers, if they didn't have LeBron and they just were resting on the laurels of Lonzo Ball.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
I'm
they'd be
sorry,
in
they
trouble.
probably only have like 12 wins right now.
They'd be in trouble.